That should be better. Hey guys, thank you. Sorry. When I started the scope in there, I was like, please don't do that to me. Hi. This should hopefully be better. I know, I'm all over the Periscope today. All over it. Hi. Glad to have you. Oh, I'm super nervous about this one. I do this every day, and yet I'm super nervous. Thank you. But so tan. Woo! I'm originally from Texas, so hello. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So a lot of you who are joining me on this are people who follow me in the morning. I usually use Periscope to do a morning scope, typically, that talks about different business building activities, things like that. I'm going to back up a second. Just so you know, guys, I am going to probably not read the comments, mostly because you guys know I tend to get distracted. And if I get distracted and I go on tangents, it will hurt the underlying message, I think, of what I'm trying to say. So I'm from the DFW area. So moral of the story is I'm not going to read the comments, so please don't think I'm avoiding you. I'll take questions at the end. Second thing, if you see creepers like that one right there, please block them. Block them on my behalf. I would appreciate it, because I'm going to actually try to avoid looking at the comments, mostly because you guys know my distractibility level is high. So anybody can block. You just click on the comment and then it'll give you an opportunity to block user. So that's y'all's job. Thank you. So like I said, most of you know me from Morning Mess. I'm on here typically in the mornings. I do things that are, typically business building relating. And this is, again, one of those topics that is helpful for business, but this isn't going to be business or company specific. This is life in general. And also business, because this does apply to business, and we'll talk about that. So I'm going to cover three things. One, I'm going to talk about why even this Periscope in the first place, what was sort of the cause for it, what was the cause behind it. And I'm going to talk about how positivity has nothing to do with whether things are going good or bad in your life, period. It has nothing to do with whether things are good or bad in your life. And third, I'm going to talk about why positivity is good for your business. So that's where I'm at. My people on here who are usually on Morning Mess, I just glanced at the comments. You just sort of hang out and keep doing your thing with the blocking. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. So the whole reason behind this, why I came here to do this scope, for you all, which is mostly my team and other followers within my company, is because of this. If you have been in my company for a while, and by my company I mean my team, or if you've even just been my friend for a long time, you know that I am generally a very happy, very positive person, right? I tend to, somebody once knew that I met, was like, you can't possibly be that happy. Somebody asked me that one time. I just have always tended to be that way, just positive outlook, positive whatever, and whatever. That's how I've always been. As I've run my business, that is how I've always focused on my business from a positive perspective. I tend to not get super wrapped up in the detail, not the detail, there are road bumps, right? There are speed blocks along the way. I tend to not really get caught up in them. I tend to not really be bogged down by them. And I've run my business like that since day one when I started it. And over the course of time, over the course of the past several months, there have been a lot of roadblocks that have come up. And I have taken a lot of criticism for my positivity. I have, from certain angles, my intelligence has been insulted. There's been a lot that has come at me that has torn down that aspect of the way I run my business. And because of that, it has made me question all of that. It has made me question whether that was the right thing. I was suddenly under the impression that maybe that was the wrong thing. Maybe that positivity that I had was hurting people instead of helping them. Maybe that was the wrong move. And I have had a lot of self-doubt because of that. I've tried to carry on with it because it's literally just kind of an inherent nature within me. And yet it has been difficult to continue with. You know what I'm saying? It has been difficult to maintain. So I actually had a conversation yesterday with somebody that I have been friends with since before my daughter was born. My daughter is my oldest child, and she's known me since I was pregnant with my daughter, and which was well before Younique ever came into my life. I'm talking years before Younique came into my life. We became friends before Younique even existed as a company. And she is now on my team, and she's now, she's a leader on my team. And I was talking to my friend, and this was a kind of a coaching call situation. She was, wanting some feedback. She, needed her cup filled a little bit. And so we're talking and things. And we reached the end of this conversation, guys. And my team member, I tell her at the end of the conversation how much I appreciate her, and how much I was like, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate your perspective on things. You have been so positive and have had such a good attitude, and it shows just in your presence. It shows in what you're doing with your team, and it shows. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And her response to me telling her this is a big reason what sort of started this. So she tells me, and I'm not telling you this story, guys, because I'm not telling you to toot my horn. That is not the point of this, okay? The point is what's going to follow after I share this. But she said, that's all because of you. And I was like, what? And she said, we were friends well before Younique. And she's like, when you and I, you've always been, like this. You've always been super positive and sunny and whatever. And she's like, and when we became friends, she talked about how she used to be a complainer. And she was like, I was a complainer. She was like, I would complain. I would spew it on social media. I was super negative and kind of meh. And she's like, and you were not. She's like, you were not. You were just happy and positive. And she was like, and I was drawn to that. And I watched you. And because of you, she said, because of you and because of your positivity, I realized I wanted to be more like that. And it has changed my way of doing things. It's changed my way of looking at things. And I'm sitting there on the other side of this call on FaceTime, and I'm like flabbergasted because I can't even fathom. Here I am telling her how her positivity has influenced me lately and how much I appreciate it. And she is telling me that long before Younique, long before I found this company, long before I started my team, long before she joined my team, I had an influence on that. And that is mind-blowing to me. And it's flattering. It's very flattering, and it's very nice and whatever, but that's mind-blowing to me. And so today I was thinking about this conversation that I had yesterday while I was driving. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the impact positivity has on other people. And how when we choose to be positive, when we choose to let that positivity shine, it's not just lifting us up and helping us, it's helping the people around us. And how people, I'm going to get to the business aspect of this in a second. And then I realized, you know what? I have squashed my positivity for several months. Just believe it or not, I have. There are people who are probably like, you seem pretty positive to me. But no, that's been a subdued positive, you guys. It's been a very subdued version of my positivity because I was being told and led to believe by several others that, maybe my positivity was hurting people and not helping people and making it worse, and that it wasn't a great thing and it wasn't a great choice. And so I've held back on that positivity because I had taken a lot of flack for it. And when I talked to my friend yesterday and she told me the impact that my positivity had on her life, I realized no, it is not wrong to choose to be positive. It is not wrong to choose to be positive, even in the midst of bad situations. It is not wrong, and it is not sticking your head in the sand to see a negative situation and choose not to live in the negative part of it. We in my company have been dealing with, like I said, different roadblocks, different things that have come at us. Choosing to be positive in those kind of situations doesn't mean that you don't see the problem. It doesn't mean that bad things aren't happening or that there's frustrating situations. It doesn't mean that there's not those things. And it doesn't mean that you're ignoring those things. It means that you're choosing to react in a way that is going to bring more positive reactions over the course of time than to react in a negative and reactive way. There is a big difference between those two things. Okay, being positive and choosing to look for the positive and choosing to believe in the positive and have faith in a positive outcome does not mean that you are ignoring the reality. It does not mean that you are squashing the reality or trying to crush other people's feelings. It means that you believe in a bigger, more positive purpose and outcome, and you're going to dwell on that. Because the more you dwell on that, the more you are going to bring it back to you. Okay? I refuse at this point to move forward in a way that squashes my belief in that, because that doesn't help anybody. And what I want to say is that is that positivity is a choice. It's a choice. You're not either born positive or negative or realistic or whatever. You're not born and stuck in one of those places. It's a choice that all of us make every single day. Okay. Why positivity has nothing to do with the circumstances in your life. I have met a whole manner of people, especially since I started my business. Okay. I have met people who have been given every privilege, every luxury in life. They've never had anything bad happen to them. They have it made, right? And they are some of the most unhappy people I've ever met. Okay? I have met people who have nothing, who have faced trial after trial after trial after trial after trial after trial after trial. And you meet them and you would never know the struggle they have seen, because they are truly, they look for the good. And it doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to them. Bad things happen even to positive people. Bad things happen. Okay? Bad things happen to people who've never had a problem in the world, okay? Let me back that up. That's not how I wanted to say that. People could have never had a problem in the world and still be miserable, okay? People could have every privilege in the world and still be miserable, okay? Misery is a choice. Being, quote unquote, realistic in such a way that is very negative is a choice. You can also be realistic and positive. You can also be realistic and look for the good. It doesn't mean that you don't have bad. It doesn't mean that you don't see the problems surrounding you. It doesn't mean that you don't have situations around you that are frustrating. And it doesn't mean that you don't have bad days. Even the most positive of people are going to have bad days. We get pulled down. We get dragged down. And I'm going to tell you, I have been in that place. Okay. I'm going to be super real because I think being real is important. And so this is me being really vulnerable. But for instance, for the past, I've had some people who have come to me and they've been like, well, if only I had your life, I could be a lot more positive. As if nothing bad has ever happened to me in my life. As if nothing negative has ever happened to me. As if I have it made in the sun. And that's really nice that somebody might have that perspective on my life, but it's not true. I'm not saying, by the way, that I've had like a miserable, hard, horrible, whatever life. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I've had my share of trials and I've had my share of hard times. I don't Periscope on Monday mornings because I'm sitting in a counselor's office every Monday morning because I've had a really hard time for the past several months. All right. If we're being really realist of real, that's where I am on Monday mornings. It is not that life is good all the time. It is not. Because sometimes it's hard and sometimes you feel beat down and sometimes it's a struggle, right? I am not saying that positive people don't have hard or bad times. I am saying positive people make a choice for how they're going to handle it. Positive people have a choice for how they're going to look at their life. All right. There will be roadblocks in your life and there will be roadblocks in your business. Okay. I'm going to bring this back to business now. You don't have to get hung up in them. Okay. You don't have to live in them. You don't have to unpack and live in the misery. People around you are going to make mistakes. They're going to do things wrong. They're going to let you down. And you can sit there and live in it and be mad about it and hate everybody and hate that person and whatever. Or, okay, you can choose not to live there. Okay. Your business, I don't care what your business is. If you're with my company, you know our roadblocks. If you are with another company, you might have different roadblocks, but there are going to be setbacks. There are going to be things that seem impossible to overcome. Like, how could all of this be going wrong? My business is going to fail. Okay. And you can choose to live in that and you can choose to dwell on that and you can choose to focus on that. I don't recommend it. I don't. And it doesn't mean that you're not seeing the problem. I see the problems. I see them. I'm honest about them. I know them. But I also don't sit and dwell on them. And I don't complain about them. And I don't let it stop me. Right? Positivity is a choice. Okay? And when we choose to be openly negative, we're hurting ourselves and we're hurting our business. And really, we're hurting our business. Okay? Now, who you are and the way you portray yourself and your business openly on social media, and not just on social media, but when you interact with people, that is going to shape your business. That is going to determine who wants to be a part of your business. That is going to determine who wants to follow you and watch your business and maybe one day become a customer or join your business. Okay, how do I know that? Because I watch it unfold every day. All right. There's somebody that I am friends with, who is a photographer, and she's a very talented photographer, truly very talented. But her personal Facebook page can be very negative and lots of complaining, I have problem after problem after problem. And then there was a day that she vented that the clients kept standing her up. And I'm going to tell you, somebody commented, I don't know if it was a client, I don't know who it was, but somebody commented and they said, they're like, this isn't good for your business. Oh, no, it was her. She commented and she actually said, I lost about 30 friends when I started talking about my bad day. She lost about 30 friends when she started talking about her bad day and complaining, truly. Okay, because she's a business owner. It's not just a personal Facebook page. She's a business owner and people know she's a business owner, and a lot of her Facebook friends are clients. Okay? And she said, her words, I lost 30 friends on Facebook as soon as I started talking about this. And somebody underneath that commented, don't go negative. It's bad for business. They did. All right. And this was just me watching this. I had nothing to do with it. But I'm going to tell you, as somebody who has been a previous customer, I was really turned off watching her negativity. I was really turned off. I felt bad that she had these things going on, but I also was really turned off by her attitude about it. Okay, because like I said, bad things can happen to us, but we don't have to be negative about it. We don't have to put out a whole bunch of negativity about the bad things that are happening to us. We don't have to put out a whole bunch of woe is us and look at all this bad and whatever. We don't have to put that out there. Okay? Because when we do, it turns people away. All right? We might think that it's us being real and us being vulnerable and whatever. And maybe there will be a couple people who connect with it. But by and large, you lose a lot of people when you put out a lot of negativity. Okay? People aren't drawn to negativity. They aren't. Let me back that up. Some people are drawn to negativity. Negative tends to like negative, right? It's like magnets. Negative attracts negative. The whole misery loves companies. That whole thing, right? People are drawn to people who lift them up and make them feel good. And that doesn't mean that you're just sunshine and roses, okay? It doesn't mean that you can't talk about if something bad happens to you, that's fine. You can share maybe if something bad has happened to you, but how you share it matters, okay? How you share it is everything. Are you sharing it with a hefty dose of woe is me and complaining and everything is bad and the sky is falling? Or are you sharing it with, this happened, huge bummer, but here's what I have to be grateful for. Or here is a silver lining of this issue. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a difference in when we share about our life and we share about the bad things that are, and if you have nothing positive to say about whatever's going on in your life, find another outlet to share about it. Find another outlet to vent in. That's what friends are for. People are drawn to positive forces. Be a positive force for your business. Be a positive force on social media because people will want to follow that. People will want to be a part of that. My friend that this whole story started with, okay, that conversation, she was like, you were positive. We were both, how we came to know each other is we were both kind of we were part of like an infertility crowd because we were both at the time receiving infertility treatments. Yeah, infertility. And it was, and there was a lot on everybody's part. There were lots of tears, lots of letdown, lots of disappointment, lots of hard times that we dealt with all together. But by and large, a big chunk of this crowd, they were very, 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 there was a lot of unhappiness. And some of that is very understandable. Infertility is a very hard battle. Okay. And I at this point don't even feel like I can speak on it because I have been fortunate enough to have different outcomes with my second child in this particular pregnancy, and others have not. And I can't pretend to know that struggle. And yes, it is a hard, hard thing. Okay. But they were so engulfed in that sadness and in that negativity that if you were somebody who chose to be happy about something or chose to be positive about something, people would turn against you for that. I mean, it was hard. It was hard. Like when I became pregnant with my daughter, I had to remove myself from the group because one, I didn't want to make them feel bad. And two, I kept feeling bad because happy, and same with my friend. She was like, it was hard. She was like, it was hard because I was surrounded by a lot of negativity and you were positive and you were different. And she was like, and that's when I made a choice to do differently and choose. And to hear her talk about positivity now, she says it is a choice. She's like, every day is it a choice? It's a choice. She's like, my natural tendency is to want to complain and moan and whatever. And she was like, and I actively have to choose not to do that. I actively have to choose to look for the positive and look for the good. She's like, and it is not always easy. And she's like, and honestly, I've had to cut out some negative people in my life because they were negative and they brought me down. And anytime I chose to be happy or positive, they tore me down for being happy or positive. If you have people that tear you down because you're happy or positive, you might want to take a second look at whether those are real good friendships. Because true friends are not going to tear you down for your happiness. True friends are not going to tear you down for positivity. All right? You can choose the type of person you want to be. Yeah, they do. I know because that's where I've been for the past couple of months. I think that in this day and age, being positive is not the status quo. I think being realistic and being negative, is the status quo for most people. And I think when you're somebody who chooses to be positive and you choose to be a light and you choose to be realistic, okay, because it's not that positive people are not realistic. I am so sick of that notion. I'm just going to straight up say it. I am so sick of the notion that if you choose to be positive, that you somehow are not realistic. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Okay, you can be realistic and still be positive. All right, it does not mean that you do not see the reality around you. Okay, you can see the reality around you and choose to look for the good anyway. You can see the reality around you and what you're facing and choose to look for the good anyway. Okay, you can do that. You have the power over that. And I guarantee you, when you are somebody who in your crowd, in your audience, on your Facebook for your business, when you put out that positive force, despite any possible negative downside situation, you are going to draw people to you. You know, the people that I want to do business with, I want to do business with the people who, when I follow their Facebook page or when I am around them, I'm like, yeah, I want to be around the people who make me fist pump and make me feel good. And even, I want, you know what? And it's not that I don't want them to share negative things, but I want to be around somebody who can talk about something negative in such a way that it doesn't put a dark cloud over everything. Okay. And truly, I want to follow a leader. I want to follow a leader who can look problems in the face. All right. Look real problems in the face and say, you know what? That is a problem. You're right. That's a problem. But guess what? Here's what we can do instead. And here's what we can do in the meantime. And here's another option. Okay. And it does not have to kill your business. I want to follow a leader who focuses on the positive. True story. I do. I don't want to follow a leader who's going to constantly be reminding me of everything that's going wrong and that the sky is falling. And then maybe not everybody's that way, but that's the kind of leader I am, because that's the kind of leader I would want to follow. And at the end of the day, we run our businesses how we see fit, right? And so I could never dictate how somebody else run their business, but I'm going to tell you, people are drawn to positivity. People follow positivity. You can change somebody's life with your own positivity, but it's not always easy. Okay. It's a choice. You have to make it. And let me say, for some, yeah, maybe that's just how they naturally err, but for others, it's a choice, but it's a choice you make every day. And so you either show up and shine. Okay. Or you can hold back if you're feeling doomy and gloomy, which, dude, I feel doomy and gloomy sometimes. And on days that I feel doomy and gloomy, guess what? You don't see me posting anywhere. You don't see me showing up, because I know that I'm doomy and gloomy and I don't have anything positive to bring to the table. If I don't have something productive and positive to bring to the table, I don't come to the table. Right? Yeah. That's what I got. Choose positivity, because it will be good for your business. I can't tell you how powerful the example with the photographer on my Facebook feed was. I had been watching her post all day that day and complaining about clients and complaining about business and complaining about other things. And then when she acknowledged that she had lost Facebook friends, Facebook followers because of that, yeah, positivity is powerful in your business. Positivity is powerful in your business. What do you do when the gloomy days stretch too long? I can't stay silent for months and work. You know what, Ball and Lashes? I feel you. I can't tell you how much I feel you on that, because that's where I've been since January. Sometimes, dude, I feel you. And by the way, I'm so sorry about your divorce. I'm so sorry about your divorce. I can't fathom how difficult that must be. Truly, I can't. So here is what I do. When I'm gloomy and doomy and all those sorts of things, I reach out for help. Truly. I mentioned today that I see a counselor every Monday. And honestly, if I really take stock of my life, it's not that I have anything overwhelmingly bad in my life. I don't necessarily, but there are hard things in my life right now. And I know that I'm not capable of handling all of those emotions on my own. And I know that I have a business I need to run, and I have a team that I need to show up for, right? And so I had to find an outlet where I could go and I could let out the feelings and the doom and the gloom and the sad, right? So yeah, I am a huge proponent of counseling, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, because sometimes our problems are bigger than what we can troubleshoot ourselves. Sometimes our sadness is bigger than what we can handle just on our own. I don't think it makes you weak. I don't think it makes you less of a person. I think it means you look at your life, or you look at a situation and you say, you know what, I need some outside help here. I need somebody who's going to be objective, who I can talk to about this. And you do it. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with anything. It's an outlet. So I have a place where I get to go and I get to let out my doom and gloom and sads and whatever, so that I can show up for my team. And so I can show up for my business, because I have that obligation as a leader to do that. Right. And also a big part of the past couple of months for me has been, purposefully squashing down some of that positivity, because I had been given a hard time for it. And people, had implied that my intelligence is lacking because I choose to be positive about the particular roadblocks we're facing, rather than dwell and unpack and be upset all the time about it. And so I doled myself a little bit for that. And also with all the sads. And so when things are going on for months and months and months, this isn't about me, but so the point being, when things are going on for months and months on end, and you still have to show up and you run your business and you still want to be positive, I would say two things. One, I would find somebody that you can talk to about it. You don't have to carry around doom and gloom feelings on your own. That's what, counselors are for. That's what friends are for. Trusted friends who aren't going to make you feel worse about it, and who aren't going to unpack and be doom and gloom and whatever, but who are going to lift you up and make you feel better and empower you, right? The second thing I would say is purposefully look for something good every day, every freaking day. And that's hard to do when you're in a bad place or in a bad mood or feeling sad. It is so hard to purposefully find something good. But if you can purposefully find something good every day, it will give you the power to keep going, and it will give you the power to show up even for 5 seconds on social media and say something positive, right? Or if you're having just the crummiest of crummy days, it's okay to be like, man, today is a crummy day, but find a silver lining. Find something in whatever it is to be grateful for. Right. Sometimes your good is waking up and it's sunny, and it may be little, but it's something, right? So you talk about guys, I believe in the power of the weather. Today is gray and gloomy outside, and I'm going to tell you, we had a crummy morning in this house. There was yelling and there was crying, and it was not great. And I blame the weather. But when it's sunny and you wake up and it's sunny, you can be grateful that you woke up and that it's sunny. You are alive and it is sunny. And that is something to be thankful for. Freaking you are alive. That is enough to be grateful for, right? I don't know if anybody has watched The Secret, but there's a book called The Secret. There's also a movie on Netflix. It's really cheesy graphics, but it talks about this. What we look for, we get more of, okay? When we look for the good, and when we find things to just literally fill our heart to be grateful with, you will get more of it. You will get more of it. So even if it's the little things, even if you have nothing, even if you have nothing, you find something to be, I woke up and I am alive, and you fill your heart with intention of gratitude for just waking up and being alive. You know what? It is another day. I am alive. I have this, whatever the situation is in your life will not kill me. And I will come out on the other side of this. I am alive, and I can be grateful for that. Even if that's all you have to be thankful for in a day, you spend a lot of time being thankful for it. And more good will keep coming. What we look for, we find. Truly. And I am not like an expert on these things. I haven't done research on it. I don't have a degree in it. I don't, but other people are experts in it. Other people have researched it. Other people have studied this. Okay. What we look for, we find. When we start looking for good, we find good. Okay. When we look for bad and we look for problems and we look for negativity and we look for reasons to be miserable, we find them. And that's a really easy one to find. Right. And I feel like that's where I've been. You know, when I was talking to my counselor this past Monday, I was talking to her about the week before, and I was talking about all these crummy things that happened, and I can't believe it. And I was like, man. And I looked at her and I was like, how come every Monday I come here and I'm like, why? I was like, why can't I just have a good week? I was like, why can't I said this, guys? This is me in a spiral of doom and gloom. And I was like, why can't I just have a good week? I was like, I feel like every Monday I come here and another, like I said, it's been thing after thing after thing. I was like, every week. Why is that? And she, you know, being a counselor, she was like, well, you know, she empathized with me and clarified my situation for me. And then she said that she was like, but, you know, she's like, I want to encourage you. She actually said, she's like, I want to encourage you this week to look for the good. She was like, enjoy the weather. Enjoy the weather with your kids. Look for the good this week and what's going on in your life. And I was like, okay. You know, and then I had this conversation with my friend a couple days later, and here I am today because she's right. Every Monday I was showing up and telling her about all the bad things that happened the week before and how crummy everything was and how sad I was and blah, 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 and all these things, because that's all I was looking at. That's all I was choosing to look for in my life and in what was going on in my situation. And so that's where our focus goes, our energy flows. My focus was on the sad and the frustrating, not on the good and the happy. And so because that's where my focus was, that's where my energy went. And that's just what it is. Where your focus goes is where your energy flows. So when you focus on the problems and when you focus on the bad and when you focus on the hard, guess what? All your energy is going to pour into that. And when you focus on the good and when you look for the good and when you look for the good despite all of the hard, that's where it's going to go. When I look at my business, I can see tons of hurdles, tons of roadblocks, tons of frustrating situations, right? I can see all that in my business. I can see the roadblocks and the hard things and how it would hurt some people's business and how, you know, but I don't put my energy there. I put my energy in what we have in stock and in the things that are good about my business and the things that are amazing about my company and the things that are amazing about my team. I look for that good. And because I look for that good in my business, I find that good and my business is good. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So, are there any other questions? Ball and Lashes, I hope I answered your question. I'm sorry. Good. I'm really glad for that. You know, I don't ever want people to not feel heard. You know, because I have a large amount of people on my team who are frustrated by it. And I don't want people to not feel heard. I would never want my positivity about things to make people feel like they're not heard. I would never want that. And yet I can't let people unpack and live there because it will stop you in your tracks. It will stop your business in its tracks if you let it. So I want people to feel heard and I want people to feel understood and that, yeah, hey, it's frustrating. I hear you. I do. And yet it doesn't have to be a stopper to everything you do. It just doesn't. And I have doled down a lot of my positivity about things. Like I said, I already previously said why and how and all that in this conversation. And I just am not going to do that any longer. It doesn't mean I'm sticking my head in the sand, and it doesn't mean I don't care, and it doesn't mean I'm trying to squash everybody around me and make everybody not feel bad. It just means, hey, this is what it is. And we get to choose how we're going to react to it. We get to choose whether we're going to choose to look for the positive or choose to look for the negative. And when you thank you. And when you choose to look for the positive, it's going to show up in your business. Oh, Jen, thank you. Well, thanks. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Are there any questions about things? Because I don't want to, P.S. Great job blocking. There were a bunch of creepers who were hopping on there at the beginning and I was really nervous for a second, but hey, guess what? They're all gone. Thanks. So yeah. Any questions? Any things? I hope this was clear. I hope it wasn't. I tried to make notes, guys. Yes, you can always message me. Always. Good. They probably, yeah, lots of people don't like my positivity, but that's all right. That's all right. And it's amazing who will come out and try to squash your positivity. I'm going to be straight up. I've had some really unexpected people, and I'm not talking just about business, like just in life. Like I feel really positive about my husband almost all of the time. And people think that that's because we have this like flawless marriage, and we don't have a flawless marriage. We don't. It takes freaking work. It takes work, but we choose to see the good, like, and counseling again. We did premarital counseling and things. And like, we have actively chosen now we've been together for almost 10 years. We actively choose to assume the good always. And I've had people, really shocking people. Sometimes people do think it's fake. People who have asked me, are you really that happy? And I'm like, well, I am. And they're like, well, if my life was perfect like yours. And I'm like, my life is not perfect. It's not perfect. The perspective I have on my life is intentional. The perspective I have on the things that happen in my life is intentional. The perspective I have on my husband and my family is intentional. Everything is intentional. It's because I choose to see the good. It's not that nothing bad happens. It's that I don't live there in the bad, It's hard. It's hard when people think you're fake when you're really not. And it's hurtful, right? That's a hurtful feeling. Anyway, yeah, the point being is it's shocking sometimes who will show up and try to squash your positivity. And that's a bummer. But people who give you a hard time for feeling happy, and people who give you a hard time for choosing to be positive, those are situations where you really need to reevaluate, because real friends shouldn't drain you like that. They shouldn't want to tear you down when you're up, Yeah. And yeah. Good. And I think it's normal, in my life, I've loved Unique. I've loved doing Unique. I've loved doing all these things, and it was all good. And so when I kind of was starting to go through a dark, gloomy place, just feeling sad, and guys, part of that was because I was first trimester pregnant and emotional and whatever, and not feeling great, but when I started, it was weird because I'm like, this is not me. It is not me to feel sad all the time. It is not me to feel like I can't be positive and to feel like I can't put that. That's not me. And that's a hard thing. Thanks, you guys. You're too kind. Okay. Well, I've taken a lot of people's time today. I don't want to take any more time than I have to. But thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful. I hope that it have days that it's hard to focus on your business when things in life are going wrong. I'm actually going to talk about that, Robin. I'm going to talk about that right now, because you know what? I have a theory. And it's both about parenting and running your business. And I've told my husband this theory long before it affected my business, but just in parenting. And I told him one time, I was like, the thing is, I was like, I am such a better parent when emotionally things are good. When I'm feeling emotionally stable about my marriage, about other things in my life and whatever, when I feel good about things, I am a much better parent because I can focus, I can be patient and whatever. When I'm emotionally distraught about something that might have nothing to do with my kids, I have a much harder time with the patience and with the, being present, because emotionally I'm feeling distraught. And it's the same thing with my business. Right? When I am emotionally distraught, I have a really difficult time focusing on my business. When I'm emotionally upset or having a hard time, I have a really difficult time showing up and doing what I need to do. Right, exactly. You said, Michelle, she said, I think that's everyone. That's normal. Yes, it is. It is normal. And it is everyone. And it is okay. If you're in a place where you're emotionally distraught and it's affecting your business, that's okay. Okay. keep showing up in some capacity for your business. And I promise you the emotional stuff will work itself out. Don't stop when you're in the middle of emotional hard times, and don't let yourself unpack and live in a negative place. Okay. But it's okay to have a hard time focusing. It's okay to have a hard time focusing. Just show up and do something. Don't do nothing. You work through it. Because here's the thing. If you step back so that you can have your emotional hard time and you let your business sit down, it's going to be really hard to pick it back up. Your business is going to kind of die. You can't let your business die. You have to keep showing up through it. Find an outlet for the emotional hard stuff. Do what you can. Okay? Do what you can to keep your business alive a little bit every day, alive, okay? Because then eventually the emotional stuff will pass and you'll be able to pick it back up, and your business will not have died because you've been tending to it to the best of your ability, and then you can pick it back up and run. I hope that made sense. So yeah. Right. New products definitely make it easier because you need to tutorial those. Yeah, it's hard, and it's an easy mistake to make. It's an easy mistake to make. And the thing is it's not irreparable. It's not like you can't fix it. It just will take a little longer. That's all. That's all. Okay, for real. I'm going to go because I've taken a ton of time. And I don't want to take any more y'all's time. But truly, I hope in some way, shape, or form this was helpful. Truly, I think that positivity is a choice, and I think that you can choose it, and I think that your business is going to be better for it. I think you're going to have a lot more influence when you do. I think that your life can be more positive for it. It's a choice. It doesn't mean you're less intelligent. It doesn't mean you don't see the problems, and it doesn't mean you don't have difficulties. It's how you choose to react to them. That's all. That's all it is. Okay. Love you guys. I'll see you all on not Monday morning because you know where I'll be. But I'll see you hopefully on Monday afternoon. And yeah, bye guys.